right, we are back for game number 2 in this best of 3 between University of Michigan Ann Arbor and Maryville University. My name is Joshua Fekas Quest here with Octavian and an Echo banned out, Lee Sin banned out. Do you expect any sort of reaction bans from based on the first game?
It's possible that we see a Vayne ban. Um, I don't think we'll see a Darius ban, despite how powerful that pick seemed. That's simply because Darius was put, not to diminish the performance of that champion in that game, but it was because Darius was put into a really favorable matchup against Maokai, and they managed to beat the lane swap and get the matchup they wanted. So if you simply just pick around that, don't pick into it again, then you can work around that pick. Vayne, when played well, can play into nearly anything, not quite anything, but a lot of different things that a lot of other AD carries can't quite handle. So it might be worth banning, might not be. Other than that, it doesn't look like we're going to be seeing it, though.
Yeah, there's only one ban left. Echo, Kindred, and Gangplank banned out by Maryville. We'll see what they decide to first pick. I believe Janna is still up from the bans last time. There is the Vayne. Very nice. So Prototype. Now, when you ban a Vayne, when you ban an ADC, you leave up meta picks, you leave up strong picks, you leave up comfort picks. And on Papa Chow is fantastic on the Janna. But again, when you first pick a support, you don't get to first pick a lot of other strong picks. Graves Jungle, still relevant, pretty strong right now. I know Chody Walrus can play him. He's actually going to get the Gragas possibly taken away from him, and one Deeg may be going back onto the Severe, and yeah, they're locked in for University of Michigan Ann Arbor.
Yeah, Sivir Gragas, not really surprising. Those are both really powerful, very versatile, not really counterable. So good pair of first picks there. The first pick, Janna, coming from the side of Maryville, says that even not on Vayne, they still trust Prototype to be able to carry quite well, because you don't put that much priority on a support or an AD carry pick unless you have a lot of faith in your AD carry.
Yeah, one of his fallbacks is a Lucian. Seen him play Lucian before. Performs very well on him. Still prefers to take Exhaust on his as his summoner spell, so no change there. But Chody Walrus gonna go with the Elise. We were talking about tower dives in game number 1. Elise, she can tower dive at level 2, level 3, whatever she needs to, as long as they are able to rotate properly here. But in Illaoi, yeah, I haven't seen Illaoi in competitive play yet, and I think I've seen one. It'd be interesting to see if it's picked up, but Illaoi just hasn't been getting too much attention as of yet. But there is the Insta-lock from one Deeg for bottom. Blitzcrank is going to be on the Rift in this game number 2.
Blitzcrank is a really solid pick against a Janna support. Hard engage is what she's both strong and weak against. It depends on how much hard engage you have. If you can throw more hard engage at the Janna than she can counter, then she's going to explode very quickly. The Jax pickup is interesting as well, especially considering that it's a blind Jax pick. There's no inkling of a top laner so far on the side of Maryville, so they get to counterpick this Jax if they want to. There's a few options.
Yeah, and it's interesting. They actually, in last game, they got to counterpick the mid lane. We're going to see what they decided.
They didn't really do.
Yeah,
the Karthus wasn't... I mean, it wasn't a horrible laning matchup, but it certainly wasn't a counter against Azir.
Yeah, it could have been better. Yeah, I mean, Cat God just goes off whenever he can, whenever he gets that chance. He has a very short fuse to be able to blow up in the mid lane, and it doesn't take much to spark that fuse. But speaking of mid lane, we are going to see a Yasuo lock in for Cat God. That is going to be interesting. That is going to leave the AP dealing damage dealer onto Chody Walrus with a little bit of Nautilus, I believe that's going to be a Nautilus top.
This Lissandra pick would be awesome. I think this fills all the bases that they need for the side of Michigan, and it's also just really good at fighting a Yasuo in lane. Yeah, I mean, it covers all their bases. I don't know why they wouldn't lock this in. Whenever you see a Yasuo on the other side of that coin, you do have to play the count the knockups game.
Yeah, right.
Papa Chow, pardon me, not Papa Chow, Cat God, is going to have Prototype with 2 displacements, actually. The hook can be ulted off of as well. And, pardon me, not Prototype. I'm getting the player names mixed up because I haven't been with the CSL for a little while.
It's understandable, man.
For that.
No problem.
But he will have the Janna knockups as well as the Nautilus. So those are the 2 sources of knockups he'll have, or displacements rather, he'll have. And so that's a decent number, honestly. I've seen really good Yasuo players go off on teams where they have nothing but their own knockups and they have to self-sustain. So it can work, but it's certainly nice to have a few more enablers for last breath.
Yeah, for sure. And Cat God, I mean, we've seen him again. He has a short fuse. He can go off at any moment. And Yasuo is one that can go off if he gets one kill. Well, the first, especially first blood, he can just take off in this game pretty easily. As Yasuo, that's kind of what you are. You're hyper carry. You either do or you don't, and we're gonna see if Cat God can do. But that's the same with Jax almost. Although, given enough time, Jax will come back into a game. But yeah, you're right. I really like the Lissandra pick, especially coming out when you're going against the Yasuo. You can lock him up pretty easily, and if he gets onto you with the last breath, you can still ult yourself and give yourself a little bit of heal. So really enjoy the Lissandra pick. But we are going to get into game in just a few moments. My name is Joshua Fekes Quest here with Octavian. Going to give a quick shout out to our sponsors, Twitch.tv, Asus ROG, and of course Brain Gear. But also head over to cstarleague.com and look for a chance to win an internship if you're a computer science major and you play in the CSL or know anybody who plays in the CSL. Go ahead and check it out. It's if you're a computer science major or have any computer science background, head over to cstarleague.com and check it out for a chance to win a free internship at Twitch headquarters. So very exciting because I mean, that's actually one of the big goals you want. If you're ever in gaming, you want to work in gaming, Twitch is a good place to be at. So go check it out, cstarleague.com. Again, Joshua Fekes Quest here with Octavian. We'll be back in just a moment. We are back in for game number 2 between University of Michigan, Ann Arbor, and Maryville. Maryville taking game number 1 and going to try to get game number 2 under their belt to just take out this best of 3 and go to DreamHack, because this is the quarterfinals, Octavian. I'm here with Octavian. My name is Joshua Fekes Quest. It's the quarterfinals, man. Whoever wins this match, well, if Maryville wins this match, they're going to go to Austin.
Yeah, it's pretty dang hype, and you know, I'm really hyped for one particular thing about this game, this mid lane matchup.
What's up?
Because even just in the one match that I've seen this guy play, Cat God, he was coming from a place of power, but he had some really awesome plays in that Azir last game. But what I mean when I say he was coming from a place of power, he was in a matchup that he was favored in, champion-wise. Azir into Karthus is pretty obviously in favor of the Azir. Whereas here, I would actually say that Lissandra stands a decent chance at shutting down a Yasuo. She has unwin-wallable, that's a difficult one to say, and hard to dodge CC, impossible to dodge in the case of her ulti, and that's exactly what you need to shut down something like Yasuo, who wants to dash all over the place and win wall your damage away. So we'll get to see whether or not Cat God is actually a far superior mid laner, or whether it was just down to the champion matchup and maybe a little bit of superiority. Who knows?
Well, I do know he is very mechanically inclined in the mid lane, but yeah, you're right. This is going to be an interesting matchup, a lot more so than the first one, where he kind of had that wild card pick in the Karthus. It's not so much this time. If anything, Yasuo was technically considered a wild pick, a wild card, but I mean, he's still a pretty good pick overall. I would say more so than the Karthus, but speaking of mechanics, it misses his Q there, but we will hold it against him this time. We'll see what happens here in the mid and top lane, though. Saskio, it's taken down quite a bit here, and actually he's going to be taken down even more. He's actually about 1/3 health right now, so Saskio needs to be careful. He's getting some chugging that corruption potion. Trying the best he can.
Both top laners having brought that one, and I think both top laners having also brought Grasp of the Undying, and Xencriel getting a lot of damage here into Saskio, who's relatively tanky, even for a level 1, I mean, not tanky, pardon me, relatively squishy, even for a level 1 Nautilus. Especially for a level 1 Nautilus.
Yeah, he's taken quite a bit of damage from Xencriel, so he needs to be careful. It's best to just hang out underneath the turret and let Xencriel push, so we can avoid taking any more damage. He's out of corruption potions now. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, nice knockup from Cat God. He actually still gets hit with the Q. The Grot, he is pretty much out of mana, but he does get a passive every 16 seconds that lets him cast a mana-less ability. But meanwhile, in the bot lane, actually, here comes a teleport. Chody Walrus misses his cocoon, and he does repel the God Hand. Very nice repel of the Blitzcrank hook, and Summoner spells blown, but live saved in the end.
Yeah, it's flash traded for a teleport, which is a favorable cooldown. The jungler's flash, it could be argued by some extension of logic, is sort of a global spell because the jungler is going to be showing up all over the map anyways, and the flash allows him more pressure that way. And it's a longer cooldown, simply to begin with, so I'd actually give that one over to Michigan there in terms of the trade, which is a little strange because they weren't the aggressors.
Yeah, I definitely agree on that one. It was a very nice repel, though, of the rocket grab from
No, I mean,
Chody Walrus.
well timed to
Oh,
avoid
yeah. No, yeah. No, I totally understand. Hold on. Oh, okay, never mind. We won't hold on because just grabbing that little minion up, he did offend him, so he wanted to get him out of the way. But, yeah, a jungler's summoner spell down, yeah, you're right. He's going to be trying to use that in all lanes. Hold on, a little bit of a fight in the bot lane. Bottom, he's getting taken down quite a bit. That spell shield passive, the barrier, mana barrier, it does proc, so that is going to be down for a few more seconds. It's not too long of a cooldown, but still damage done in the bot lane to bottom.
The interesting thing to consider in this bottom lane is we've got an aggressive early game support on the side of Michigan, and an aggressive early game AD carry on the side of Maryville. Whereas we have a sort of not so aggressive early game AD carry, not so aggressive early game support on the other side. There's the engage.
Yeah, flash rocket grab and the ignite is down onto him too. So that is first blood going over to 1dig. Julius being where he needs to be at the right time. But 1dig, he stays too long on Papa Chow, actually able to pick up the return kill. But the gold advantage still does go over to Michigan's bot lane.
That minion damage, it builds up over time.
Yes.
Dig not respecting the caster minions. That kill credit really should be given over to them, not Papa Chow.
Yeah,
they did most of the work.
He had heal too. He did not use it, which is the big mistake there. He could have saved a kill on his side. And I mean, whatever you hold on, a little bit more aggression here. Chody Walrus. He's on to Julius. Not too much damage on Papa Chow. Cannot back him up, and neither can bottom really either. So they're both just going to back up here. And so back to bot lane, that one thing is that when you have a summoner spell, you're supposed to be able to use it and to save that that sort of return kill. That really actually hurt. That hurt one Deeg's chance of really taking off in that lane, because could have got the minion advantage. He had the kill advantage already, which means he had the gold advantage from the first blood. But one Deeg did not get that. Did not use that heal, and now it's going to be paying for that, I believe, in the long run.
He is still sitting on about a 200 gold lead. I did just check. There's the last breath, though.
Not much damage out of it, though. He actually just hit that, so he doesn't have any items to really back that up. So, Cat God showing his presence, showing his... I guess he can land him well enough, but not going to have any power behind that.
Yeah, so ulti down. I mean, it's a decently short cooldown, even in the early game. I believe it's something around the range of 65 to 70 seconds. That's just rank 1 without much CDR. And the Yasuo, of course, doesn't really build CDR. It's not a great stat for him. We do see an invade here, though. Julius is trying his best to defend against Papa Chow, who's going really aggressive, even on top of a Wolf Spirit. I mean, they spot him out.
He's getting pretty pinched in here, the Garrote. But meanwhile, in the bot lane, Prototype, he uses that exhaust to duel one Deeg. That's why he takes the exhaust, so he can 1v1 anybody he wants to. Very nicely played by Prototype Black in the bot lane, taking advantage of on Papa Chow, causing a ruckus up in the jungle and taking bottom up there. No protection for one Deeg.
And because of the massive amount of pressure that Cat God is somehow exerting in mid lane here, Papa Chow doesn't even pay for that. I mean, you saw Julius go super aggressive back on a Papa Chow. He saw the enemy Janna support alone in his jungle, level 4 and already at 2/3 health. That was the right call to go really aggressive onto him. But he didn't have any support from this Lissandra mid lane, who's getting shoved in by Cat God and doesn't have any options but to just sit here and take some farm. And maybe even get dove.
Oh, there's a last breath underneath the turret. She pops her ulti, frozen tombing herself, gets the flash out as well with the heal. But now Cat God flashing in, getting the kill with the ignite as well in the end. The Garrote going down underneath, oh, actually in his own jungle. But now Cat God, he may be getting pulled back in. No, he actually wind walls it, so he is going to be safe. Very nicely played, in and out by Cat God.
Well, up in top lane, we do have Counter-Strike landing on Saskia. But it looks like Nautilus has become tanky enough that it's basically a non-issue at this point.
Yeah, this is going to be a fun lane to watch, because I don't know why the camera loves going top lane, but it's not much is going to happen. This is about what you're going to see, the extent of it. Xincriel, he's going to try his hardest to break through a wall with, I think he has a hockey stick. I think he's playing the hockey...
Oh, God.
Yeah, the hockey jacks. So you're going to see him try to break through a wall with a wooden hockey stick. It's not going to work.
Cut down the mightiest tree in the forest with a herring.
Yeah, it's not gonna work. You needed some drunk jungler like Gragas to come up there and try to help you out with that, because drunk people can actually take down trees a lot faster than any hockey player ever can. Just ask any Canadian; they will testify to that and make it true, no problem. But we do see Xincriel. He's not going to go back. He's actually just wasting time there, but I think he just wants to stay in lane and try to occupy himself. But in the bot lane, Prototype Black, he does have the kill advantage and the CS lead over one Deeg. So one hook could change that, though, just like this. Prototype, he gets hooked in, but now bottom, a lot of damage going on to him. The calling coming out. Nothing can stop him now, but there's not going to be enough damage. But it did drive them back. But in the end, Prototype Black, lower health bar than one Deeg. One more hook may be able to get the kill.
Yeah, here it's about where the damage did land. It's about an equal trade in damage, but it was on the support as opposed to the 80 carry.
Bottom.
Nice Janna disengage.
Oh, bottom. He gets hooked. He gets knocked up. He gets taken down. Julius picking up that kill, but now Saskia, he's in the bot lane. Depth charge going in onto bottom, and Xincriel did follow with his this teleport as well, but Saskia going to pay for it. Xincriel picking up the kill. Nice teleport, and now they may rotate up to Dragon, or they might not.
It was a really well-played skirmish by the side of Michigan. We'll have to see if they can take anything off of it. Dragon is the most logical next step. It's a little bit risky because they're rather low on health. If Yasuo managed to get a great ulti or something, then they could turn something around, but it looks like Maryville is not going to be even attempting that. You know, I may have to eat my words as we do see Cat God running down. No, it looks like he's just clearing out a jungle camp.
Yeah, Cat God's just focused on farming. He is almost 30 CS over his lane opponent, the Garrote. But with that being said, no interruptions. First Dragon of the game does go over to University of Michigan Ann Arbor. And this is another thing that I noticed from Maryville last time we casted them, is that they did phenomenal in game number 1. Unfortunately,
Papa Chow.
yeah, Papa Chow, he's trying to steal this. I don't
He's
think
at it again.
He did not steal it. Okay,
You got really hyped there.
I know. Well,
when the Zephyr went out.
yeah.
Oh, just flash body slam.
Oh, and a flash of the Blitzcrank hook too. Very nice reaction time from I'm Papa Chow, just being as much of a nuisance as possible.
This
Yeah.
is some sort of secret agent crap going on right here. He's an operative deep in enemy territory.
And every time he does something like that, Prototype gets left by himself to do whatever he wants. This time, well, last time it was to take out one Deeg, get a kill for himself. This time, it was to drop the bot lane turret, the enemy turret, over half health. So, he's Papa Chow. He knows what gets under people's skins. He knows what makes them react. And he's making the bot lane of University of Michigan Ann Arbor react to him, allowing Prototype to get solo farm and to get some damage under that turret.
Bottom looking to re-engage here potentially.
Don't think the hook is up right now. The Colleen does come out. It's just to get some damage out onto bottom. So if he does get hooked, there may be kill potential for Prototype Black.
That was some really good tracking with the culling there. Landed nearly every single bullet.
Oh,
Brock gets knocked up. He doesn't take the glacial path.
Oh, last breath, and Chody Walrus in the mid lane. He's gonna say, "Hey, I'm gonna take this kill," and picks up that one. I think he landed the cocoon while the Grot was in midair. So very nicely played by Cat God and Chody Walrus.
This is a pretty definitively one lane for Cat God, who came out of a matchup that I really didn't anticipate him winning, but he's doing really well. Like, there were a lot of things stacked up against him here. Lysandra has a great kit for dealing with Yasuo's kit, and also, she's really happy to build right into a Zone Use Hourglass first, which of course is great against AD laners like a Yasuo. But it simply wasn't enough. Cat God is flexing his muscles here in mid lane.
Yeah, and even the roams from the Grot not really paying off. He's 0-2-0. He roamed one time, did not work out. He's actually going to teleport into the bot lane and take up some of this farm from one Deeg. Actually, maybe holding the lane here. As University of Michigan, they're slowly slipping into well, I guess slowly falling behind, I should say, as they are 1.5k down, and the farms on both sides, the only one that's actually winning, as far as a lane is concerned, is Exincriel. It doesn't really count too much when you're against a Nautilus, who has a very cheap build. He's a tank. He just, once you get to about 25 to 30 minutes, I mean, he's going to do what he needs to do no matter how much farm he has or what his KDA is.
Yeah, at the very least, this Jax isn't shut down, though. I mean, he's got a kill, he's got enough farm. So Jax is also going to be doing what he does, and it's just a matter of whether Saskia or Xencriel is more impactful. There's the Nautilus ulti, though. Depth charge coming through.
Oh, in the bot lane, very nice dodge from Prototype from the Blitzcrank hook. And now, Chody Walrus, he's in the bot lane. Where's he going to land his cocoon? Is he going to land it here? He does. On the bottom, he's going down. Chody Walrus eats him alive, as most Chody Walruses do. If you ever encounter one in the jungle, run away, because they are big, green, gross, and they will eat you.
Okay,
Yes.
I'll take that advice. We've become a nature program at this point.
Yeah.
Are they going to dive the Lysandra? There's a Sivir waiting in the wings. It looks like they may just want to pressure in onto this turret.
And the Grot, it's really dangerous to dive. Hold on, there's a flash and a frozen tomb onto Prototype Black. No damage behind that. He is almost full health after a two skill combo from the Grot. That is how far behind he is. And not to mention, Papa Chow using that shield very well on Prototype.
And the exhaust was dropped as well. There was so much mitigation there on the side of Janna and Prototype's exhaust being dropped. There was absolutely no way that Grot dealt enough damage to be impactful there.
Oh, the cocoon missing on the bot lane. Oh, nice explosive cast. Prototype, he's in a bad position, but he gets healed. Papa Chow with the monsoon going to keep Prototype Black alive, and he's able to dash over the wall into safety. That is a major loss for University of Michigan Ann Arbor.
Oh my god, that is the worst feeling right there. As Cat God walks into a turret for a little bit.
Yeah, that's what you do.
Not 100% on that one.
Yeah, that's... Sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. One Deeg. Going to be taking up some damage from this Janna. She has a shield on. She needs to be careful. The Janna auto attacks hurt when you have Monsoon on yourself. Or not Monsoon, Eye of the Storm. Sorry about that.
It was one of her, though. Well done, though.
Yeah, thank you. I named two of them.
You got that.
Yeah. No problem.
And it looks like I don't know what Cat God's plan is here. I suppose he realized he couldn't get to bot in time to affect the fight, so he's just taking advantage of the fact that there was no pressure on top side from Michigan. And he's stealing some jungle camps, proxying some farm, being a general nuisance on the top side of the map here.
Yeah, let's focus on Cat God real quick. He actually has Quicksilver Sash, so he's not going to be locked down underneath the turret if he decides to dive from Xigriel. He's going to be safe. He can take a little bit of damage from him, considering he has the Guinsoo's Rage Blade, as the Quicksilver Sash will defend against the Empowered Strike of Xigriel. We're going to see him go in onto this one. Let's see who wins here. There's the, well, he did not use a Quicksilver Sash. He actually just gets bursted down, so, you know, make me eat my words. But engage in the bot lane on Papa Chow, getting aggressed on. There's a flash and a body slam on Papa Chow. Gonna go down, so is Prototype Black. Sorry about that. Bottom picking up Prototype Black, and that is a disengage from Maryville after losing 2 in the bot lane, 1 in top. Only
that is Michigan showing that they are not out of the fight just yet.
Not yet.
Things were starting to go poorly across the rest of the map and just slowly, as you were saying, slipping into oblivion for them. But not only do we see Cat God overestimating himself and going down for it very quickly against this Quincy's Rageblade Jackson top lane, they also win the 4v4, so they get the best of both worlds here and pick up a dragon for themselves.
Second dragon of the game, so playing that slow game into the mid to late portion of this this second game of a best of 2. Best of 3, rather. Sorry about that. Brain a little frazzled after that. Michigan, they're doing what they can, and it looks like the Grot splitting his build, going with that Seeker's Arm Guard just for the defense against Cat God, and now aiming to build into the Rod of Ages.
You see some vision contestation as, yeah, Grot is... You bring up the Rod of Ages, and it's a good thing to bring up, because Grot has been shoved behind in this lane, and I think that's when your itemization matters the most. When you're just a little bit behind in a lane, or up, well, not quite so little anymore, but when you're starting to fall behind in a lane, that's the most important item choice you make, because if you make the wrong choice there, you relegate yourself to uselessness for the rest of the game. You have to choose correctly. And he started building the Seeker's Arm Guard, which was a really good laning item against Yasuo, and then rushed into the Rod of Ages. Whether that's the right or wrong call is likely going to be determined over the next 10 minutes, but it is a very big commitment. Bottom getting knocked into the air there.
Yeah, he gets Ignite thrown down onto him. Cat God's going to stick to this one. One more tick, it does it. Cat God, he picks up the kill out of that.
Cat God this time taking a 1v1 that he can handle. A Blitzcrank at 1/3 health is a little bit of an easier target than a Jax at full. Especially a Jax with the Guinsoo's completed.
That's what they say.
And I think we're going to be seeing a lot of focus in these team fights on taking down the Jax, since it's kind of the bastion of hope for the side of Michigan, who have some not so nice scorelines across the rest of the map and then 2-0 Jax.
I mean, to Julius's credit, he's not doing horrible either. He's 1-0-3. He's helping out where he can. He has not 100% kill participation, but pretty close. 4 out of 6, not bad at all. But 1 second, Grot, he actually gets hooked into the top lane. And Saskio, he is so tanky right now. He's dishing out as much damage, staying as close as possible to proc. Oh, he actually used the auto attack to keep him from using the Glacial Path. And he's staying as close as possible to be able to use that Sunfire Cape. So he's going to get the Frozen Tomb out of Grot as well. This is a very slow death for the Grot, and he finally goes down.
Tanks with damage, man. It's Season 6.
It's ridiculous.
That's what we're all about. It does help that Grot has been struggling for pretty much the entire game at this point. And he's not catching a break going to top lane either, as Saskio brings home a kill. A lot slower than he brought them home on Darius, but just as surely.
The Rift Herald buff onto Cat God in this top lane. It means these minions will not be going down as fast, but of course unless you leave the area. Papa Chow, he gets hooked, he gets dead. That's how you say it, he gets dead, because that's what happens when you get hooked. So, very nice hook by bottom, picking off who he can, and getting a reward for it. So
that was a really well-placed hook by
yeah.
bottom. And you could tell they obviously didn't expect that to land. It was the very edge of the skill shot, because Cat God still had Wind Wall up. So if they expected that to be anywhere near landing, Cat God would have simply dropped down a Wind Wall and cut off Blitzcrank's hand. But
that's how it works.
As it is, Papa Chow, getting caught off guard a little bit, gets instantly burst. And that's the strength of Blitzcrank. And that might be one of the deciding factors for Michigan taking them a win here if they do manage to. They've got a lot of follow-up off a Blitzcrank hook with Gragas and Lysandra, so if they hook the right person, they can lock them down long enough to kill them with virtually no chance of escape.
Yeah, and little picks like that will keep them in the game as well. 7-7 right now. They're losing down in turrets, but only by 1. 3 turrets to 2 in favor of Maryville. They do have control of the dragons, though, at 2-0. So they have that slow burn onto the turrets if they decide to siege, or are able to siege, I should say. But Saskio, he's going to catch somebody. He's going to be the Grot. 1 Dig, though. They're looking to turn this one around. A Cook onto Papa Chow. Immediately gets him the Monsoon out of him. And that forces everyone from Michigan University back. 1 Dig barely makes it out alive, but Bottom will not make it out alive. And here's a teleport from Exekriel. He's going to jump in. He's going to get a kill. Flash over to Saskio. I don't think he's going to be able to take out Saskio, but it's Chody Walrus. He gets locked up, but repels out immediately. Still goes... No, he does not go down, actually. I thought the body slam was going to be able to take him down. And now Cat God, full health. They're going to be running away from Cat God now. And man...
This is Yasuo's dream if he manages to
Oh
catch up.
my god, yeah. You can just get into dashing range of Exekriel. Be able to pick him up, but not able to. So 1-for-1 trade overall. A lot blown for a lot of really just 1 kill each.
That Blitzcrank hook was almost disastrous. It was a good hook. It was well placed to land it on a squishy enemy, and they could have maybe bursted down the Janna, but they didn't CC her again immediately. And so Janna managed a...
What? What?
He knew he would win well the hook, so he just didn't even throw it at him. That's great. I like that. That's funny. But Janna got to immediately Monsoon, which tossed every single member of Michigan in a different direction. You want your Monsoon to cause as much discord as possible among the enemy team, and it certainly accomplished that. A good trade there between both teams as we coast into the 22-23 minute mark, the mid-game, decidedly.
Yeah.
It's pretty even, but
well,
a little bit of an advantage over to the side of Maryville.
Let's take a look at the builds real quick, specifically Julius. He's going full heavy armor right now. Looking to build, I guess, a Frozen Heart and an Iceborne Gauntlet. He has 2 Glacial Shrouds. I mean, yeah, I would assume that's what he's going to build, but hold on. Dragon going to be contested here. It's secured by Chody Walrus. The engage has already happened by Michigan. I don't think they want this now. Health bar is going very low, but still, Julius, he made it out. Barely going back in. Chody Walrus actually goes down. He's Ezekiel's heal, but a 3-man last breath onto the side of Michigan University. They are able to finally shut down Cat God. He's able to get a couple kills beforehand. Prototype Black, he has not been touched this entire time. 1 Dig, he may be in trouble here. He's going to be chased down. No turret to run to. Prototype, he has the shield. He has the power. 1 more auto attack, it would do it. Prototype picking up that kill. Overall, a 3-for-4 in favor of Maryville, and they also got the dragon.
That fight was won by the ultimates there. Papa Chow had in another amazing Janna ulti, got maximum value out of it. Not only knocked away some of the hard CC on the side of Michigan by knocking around that Gragas, and I believe he got Exekriel knocked back as well, though I may be wrong, it might have been Grot, I think it was one of the solo laners. He also managed to channel it the whole time without any interruption, and actually got quite a good amount of value out of that full-length Janna heal. And then, of course, we saw the 3-man last breath. Cat God went down for it, but it doesn't matter at that point. The damage was done. Quite literally.
Yeah, he did an extraordinary amount of damage, and it was able to get a dash after that as well. So very nicely played by Cat God. He is he's 3-2-3, but he's 231 farm, most in the game right now, and that's translating into most gold in the game. So he has some power to back up anything that he throws out right now. And I do want to point out Julius sold one of his Glacial Shrouds. So he just built that the Frozen Heart. I think he realized he had 2 of them and sold it. So not going to go with that build. He actually wasted a lot of money doing that, but you know, be as it may, mistakes happen. But now, yeah, it is. But now Maryville, they need to find a place of pressure. This is one thing that Michigan has. Michigan has a lot of wave clear. It's going to be hard to siege against them between 1 Dig, Julius, and the Grot being able to clear waves very quickly. And then you also have Exekriel able to split push. He doesn't have teleport up right now, but he is a Jax able to split push with the best of them. Maybe even one of the best split pushers in the game.
And I feel like that's an appropriate freeze frame to pause on, as it is kind of a little bit of a picture of how the rest of the game might go if it goes in favor of Michigan, who have this 5-1 Jax in their back pocket, who's going to be such a split-pushing threat, as you said. With everybody else grouped near top, near Baron Pit, trying to vie for position, and Exekriel just battering away at a turret, this is essentially the win condition here for Michigan.
Yeah, and he's actually going that somewhat old school build, a Gwynsu's Rageblade and a Hextech Gunblade, not going for the Triforce. I would actually think that Triforce would be better if you're going to split push because you get that auto attack empowerment, but we'll see. I mean, Xingriel, he's, like I said, doing very well, 5-1-1, and that's not saying much against Saskio. Saskio is 1-2-4. He has a Sunfire Cape and a Thornmail, so if one Dig or Xingriel decides to duel him, it's going to be pretty harmful to their own health if they decide to do that. But he's only died twice. And Xingriel, he's just done a great job with these teleports and getting into these team fights.
Yeah, it's like we said, this top lane was so even just because Saskio was such a brick wall of stats that Xangriel couldn't take him down in a 1v1, that both of these top laners are going to be coming out of the laning phase doing what they do, you know? Saskio is going to be a tank, he's going to have tanky items, he's going to teamfight. Xangriel is going to be a split pusher, he's going to have attack speed items, he's going to split push, and neither top laner really has an advantage over one another in terms of how far along they are in their build or something. It's just a matter of horses of a different color doing different things.
Solid analogy, in my opinion. Horses of different color is quite right here. But with Papa Chow back in the game, we're going to get back on this rift with Xingriel shoving into this inner bot lane turret and Saskio having nothing to answer for it. So, yeah, like you said, this may be the big factor for University of Michigan Ann Arbor to be able to pick up a W here.
And not only Saskio having nothing to answer, but really the entirety of Maryville having nothing to answer unless they can pick a fight and win it here. Or maybe go for a Baron. There's some pings coming down in the Baron pit, but it would be pretty risky. There's a Sivir who can rush and engage in, and a lot of magic damage, which Baron, of course, makes you weaker to on the side of Michigan here.
Yeah, Saskio, he does have his teleport up, so he could teleport in, which he is going to. That does leave... Yeah, hold on. Oh, Grot, he's going to be ulted. Depth charge going in. A very nice explosive cast left all of Maryville in the back lines. Nothing to follow up that depth charge. And Xingriel, he doesn't have teleport, but he can just push into this turret with nobody there to bother him now. That was a huge mistake from Maryville. Let's see if they can capitalize and make something out of it, though. Julius, he gets taken down, but the inhibitor from the on the bot side of Maryville, it is going to go down eventually here. Cat God uses this Quicksilver Sash, gets out of the first CC, gets locked down, but here's the knock-up and the last breath onto one Dig. One Dig does go down, and they are going to break... No, they're still trying to take down the Baron. It's only halfway down. Julius will not be stealing. Teleport is up from Ezekiel now. Xingriel, I should say.
Julius being down is the most important part of that series of skirmishes we saw right there. Nice hook on a Prototype.
Oh my god, there's a flash. The exhaust goes down on the Grot immediately, and there's the kill. Prototype, he picks up the kill, and Maryville, they get the Baron. They lose the inhibitor. Really hard to tell who can win this right now. The gold lead is still on the side of Maryville, and Ezekiel, he's going to hop out of there. Bottom. Man, these hooks, they are so huge right now.
The rough thing is, I mean... It's just Julius going down there opened up that play for the side of Maryville, who were slowly choking out because they had burned the teleport and not gotten anything for it. Jax was going to have teleport up in just a few moments. You saw it burned now, so now the cooldown is, of course, back to being quite a long time. But at the time, Xangriel had teleport coming up in just a few seconds, so they had a huge upper hand there on the side of Michigan. And Julius took a few steps too far forward and threw it away, and that feels really rough. At least they do get the inhibitor out of the trade. Baron for inhibitor, roughly equal here, but it could have been so much better.
And it's still before the 30-minute mark, so these super minions on the bot lane, they're gonna have no problem getting in to the base. They're gonna have a hard time being killed, but like you said with Baron, it's almost gonna cancel that one out. Anybody, and now even Saskio, he can prevent a split push with Baron pretty easily against Xingriel. So this is actually really big. They can 4v5 if they want to, and keep Xingriel at bay from a split push, because there's still plenty to split push in the top lane with no Baron pressure to be really had here. Xingriel, just with the teleport especially, if it comes up anytime soon, could just split push. But with the Baron, it's going to be a little bit harder. Pause did come out. We don't know why. We'll get back into game as soon as possible. But, man, Boots of Swiftness coming out huge right now for Michigan. They want to get around this map as fast as possible.
Yeah, it certainly does make sense for ID on Sivir, who's become something of a utility bot for his team at this point. As I said last game with the Sivir first pick, this game as well with the Sivir first pick, it applies. if you fall behind on Sivir, if you end up 2 and 4 against a 6 and 4 AD carry, you can always press R and be useful. And using the Swiftness boots is just even more ability to reposition, get your team around, and make those potential engages happen that you need to happen, or even escapes happen that you need to happen, which I think is going to be actually more likely with the split pushing tendencies that we're seeing from Exenkriel.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how this game unfolds, because right now, yeah, it doesn't really look like there's a decisive winner. Even with a 5k gold gap in favor of Maryville, they're still on the back foot. I mean, and I say that, neither team's really on the back foot. They're really just butting heads and seeing which one gives right now. Now, the thing is that it looks like so far, Maryville, they have a really good team fight. But on the other side, bottom, one hook could change the world for University of Michigan Ann Arbor. And you do have the ace in the hole with Exenkriel, so we'll see how that one goes. But pause is still happening. I'm going to go and actually throw over some music, and we'll be back in just a moment whenever the unpause happens. Alright, we are back. Game unpaused, and here we are. 15 to 12, 50k to 45k, all in favor of Maryville. But they are actually losing in turrets and losing in dragons for the first time in this series. They had a pretty commanding lead in game number 1. University of Michigan Ann Arbor, they're answering back quite well.
Yeah, and the statistics are, at this particular moment, aside from total gold, looking to be more and more in favor of Michigan. I'm still a little bit worried for them, though, because we've seen the beginnings of some really good plays with the Jack split push there and the dance around Baron, and the way they baited out that teleport and then backed off from it almost in sync perfectly was really well done. And then we just see an overextension, and Julius gets caught, the jungler goes down. They don't really handle the Baron properly at that point, though it would have been difficult to, since it was a 4v5. And Exenkriel isn't able to be as much of a threat as he should have been, simply because the team got caught out after a teleport had already been burnt. So I'm a little worried because of a few mechanical misplays we've seen, but that doesn't mean they can't pull it back. And honestly, they don't really have to pull it back anymore. It's much more even than it used to be.
And that's kind of I think what both teams are waiting for, a misplay. They're waiting to capitalize on something. And the team that can capitalize on that something the most may just win this game. A lot of vision coming out from both teams. They're not lacking in vision whatsoever. Tracker's Knife and Sight Stones, not to mention Farsight alterations. There's plenty to give vision out for both teams right now. I actually have 3 Farsight alterations on both sides, along with 2 Oracle Sweepers as well. So a lot to clear and a lot to throw down as far as vision is concerned. But second dragon for Maryville taken up.
This is what I'm talking about. Just Maryville seems to be a lot more decisive with their actions. They had grouped 4 on the Dragon Pit a few seconds before it spawned. They took it down almost instantly, and they left Nautilus, the only member that really couldn't be 5-man dove on without buying enough time for the team fight to actually happen in mid lane to clear. And so they get the Dragon pretty much for free. I mean, actually entirely for free. There wasn't even any pressure from a split-pushing Jax, because Exenkriel had been called to the mid without his teleport to try and contest something. It looks like Maryville knows what the next step is, and Michigan is trying to figure it out.
Quicksilver Sash is actually picked up for Exenkriel, so if they're thinking about steps, they're thinking about only their own steps right now, trying to figure out what they need to win this game. And Exenkriel, doesn't want to get CC'd whenever he's split pushing, which he's going back to doing that on the top area, the top lane. Doesn't have teleport up yet, but he can create quite a bit of pressure. But with that being said, with these Baron minions, it may be advantageous. Actually, there's no more Baron. Never mind. There's no more Baron on the side of Maryville. So this is actually really big for Ezekiel, which he's almost to the turret and no one's there to stop him yet.
Yeah. We may see Jax take down yet another turret. And I say that Maryville seems to know what the next step is, but whenever they get presented with this Jax split push, I suppose they're going for the strong engage here.
Yeah, it looks like it. There's a depth charge onto Julius, but a hook onto 1D. He gets out. Bottom may be caught out all around. He actually flashes out as well. Monsoon's going to keep everyone alive, and now Ro8 uses the ultimate, uses the Zani's Hourglass, finally goes down, and that is going to still leave Zinkriel to just split push this entire time. He took the top lane inhibitor turret, I should say, and now he's going for the inhibitor. They're trying to just force this one into the mid lane right now from Maryville, but the inhibitor goes down. They're down. Well, actually, no, the bot lane inhibitor finally came back up. There's a flash. Cat God picking up the kill on the bottom. He's going to go in onto 1D. 1D goes down. Holy hell. Okay, so it looks like Maryville, they're able to bring this one back. They don't have a wave to work with, but they're able to rotate the turret enough. And now mid lane inhibitor is taking up, and this is very smart by Maryville. Chody Walrus, he went back. He's keeping Zinkriel from backing. They may try to win the game here.
Yeah, there were a few moments of indecision there when Jax was getting onto that secondary turret and the rest of his team was split as 4 in the mid lane. But then Maryville pressed Michigan pressed the on button and they went hard for that engage, and it paid off in about an equal trade. Honestly, since they don't get any of these Nexus turrets, it's an inhibitor down in mid for an inhibitor down in top. A few more kills go over to the side of Maryville, but in the end, we're at the point in the game where a kill here or a kill there doesn't really matter. It's all about objectives now. So a 1-for-1 trade in inhibitors is going to keep Michigan holding on.
Yeah, and Zinkriel has a teleport, so with an open bot lane inhibitor, he can actually teleport and just take that one out instantly. And if he has a big wave with him, he could even take out a Nexus turret if Michigan can keep Maryville from backing. So very interesting predicament they've had themselves in on both sides. Baron is going to be up in 1 minute. I have no idea who's going to win that fight.
And speaking of teleports, earlier with Zinkriel's teleport, we also have a second teleport on the side of Michigan. Ro8 is running TP, and we haven't actually seen him make use of that too much. In the early game, he didn't get any TP ganks, and now he's sticking with the team for the most part. I'd be interested to see him use that summoner spell a little bit more, because I don't think I've actually seen him cast it for a good, I don't know, 10 minutes or so.
Honestly, the last time I remember was he was using it on bot lane, but yeah,
that was a while ago.
Yeah, that was a while ago for sure. There's not too much to teleport to besides minions right now, and you can't teleport to Farsight Alteration Wards. They aren't targetable, so I guess he's just saving that one. Not really sure for what, and doesn't really have too much of a use for it. But they're actually strong-arming this top lane inner turret. But Cat God, he goes in. Very nice Monsoon from Pom Papa Chow that actually nets them 2 kills. A double kill for Cat God. Is he going to get a triple kill? A triple kill for Cat God. He's going for a quadra. He's underneath the turret. Bottom keeping him busy. Cat God may actually go down. Zinkriel, he's in the back lines of Maryville now. Chody Walrus trying his best to keep him at bay. Prototype, he goes down. There's the cocoon, and there's the death. Papa Chow actually picks up that kill, but it's alright. They don't care. And that is going to be pretty huge. But a hook onto Cat God may land bottom the kill. He actually dashes out. And now, super minions are in the base. Bottom, the only one left alive. This is going to be Maryville going to DreamHack in Austin, Texas. Game number 2 in this best of 3. Going over to them. They could just do this right here, Octavian.
And I really love the word you used at the start of that fight under the turret there. Strong arm is a great way to describe how this second game of the series went. Every single move that we saw Maryville make was made decisively, was made wholeheartedly, and was executed well. And that gives them a 2-0 sweep here.
Very nicely played by Maryville. A very valiant effort, especially in game number 2 from Michigan. They are knocked out of the tournament. They are not going to DreamHack, unfortunately. But we will be seeing Maryville in DreamHack, at least in the semifinals. So we will be having the semifinals and the finals on the grand stage in Austin, Texas at DreamHack. Oh, man. All right, so that was quite a game. Best of 2. Congratulations to Maryville. Once again, they do advance on. But I guess that's going to be closing it out for us. So I'm going to give a shout out to our sponsors real quick. Of course, Twitch.tv. You wouldn't be seeing us without them, so thank you for sponsoring us. Brain Gear, scientifically developed 2-ounce formula. Things in Brain Gear: vitamin B12, vitamin B6, green tea extract, vitamin E, all natural. Go check it out. Check out Brain Gear and tweet with the hashtag ThinkBig and tell them thank you for sponsoring CSL. And of course, do the same thing for Azus ROG. You can check them out on Twitter at Azus_ROG. That stands for Azus Republic of Gamers, and they are the reason we're able to go to DreamHack. And now they're the reason why Maryville is going to go to DreamHack, besides them playing phenomenally. So if we go give a shout out to Azus ROG, and they'll tell them thank you for sponsoring the CSL and thank you for the road to DreamHack. Any last words, Octavian?
Thanks for having me along. It was a really fun series of games to cast. This was some excellent play, sincerely, from both teams.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it.
And that's going to be it for us. On behalf of CSL Octavian, my name is Joshua Fekes Quest. And again, thanks for joining me, man. It's been great, and we'll see you guys at DreamHack. Have a good one.